All right, screw it. We're gonna start early. Blah. Go to the thing. Hello and welcome. Um, Today is gonna be a little bit of a lightning round. Going into the latest and greatest series playbook called In Darkest Night, which is the Madoka inspired everything's awful and super dark playbook. Um, and so I'm going to give you all a quick tour of what I've worked on since the last time I did one of these streams. And I want to do some kind of finishing touches on it. I mean, not to get it done, but to get it playable. Because this coming week we're going to be playing this as part of um, our Roll20 time slot while Adam is away. So it's going to be Elf actually emceeing it, and then it's going to be me, Dave, and Blue Jay as the PCs. So I am excited, obviously, to get to share some new content in the game with y'all. And so I just wanted to do a quick run over of it. Also, special shout out to Cnome, who has been playing my game. I am running behind on my playtest watching Cnome. So I will finish watching your stuff soon, and then I'm going to go through all the notes and stuff that y'all have been sending me in order to incorporate some of that feedback and whatnot. I've just been needing to kind of triage because I have very little time this week. And I need to kind of get this out the door before then. But if y'all want to see people playing Girl by Moonlight, you can check out Cnome's channel. I also know that he has done a bunch of stuff around character sheets and role macros and whatnot to spiffify them. And I need to check out the more in-depth details, but I saw some stuff from it on the playtests that I've been watching through. So there's that stream you can check out. There's also on Nath's channel, which is what is their channel? I'm digging through my Twitter to try to find it. Here we go. Here's Nath. Twitch.tv/Nath, so NATH_KAI. They've also been doing a Girl by Moonlight stream, so you can check them out. There are lots of places to watch it. There's also, of course, Distracted Elf's channel, where we have been playing for these past 4 weeks, or at least we've done 4 sessions. But anyways, this is In Darkest Night. It is a series playbook that's all about tragedy and crappiness and being all edgy. And it has its own set of special crew abilities and transcendent abilities, which I've done a bunch of work on. So I'm going to highlight these because we've been through, it has its own lists and stuff, but we went through those previously. And today the polishing off of this is going to involve the hideout replacement on the sheet, which we'll get to in a minute. So as it stands right now, we've got Troubled Hearts. Each crew member may add +1 action rating to Conceal, Defy, or Confess. And a notable change here is that we pulled Defy from the Starlit Kingdom's move. So now Starlit Kingdom folks are good at Express, Forgive, and Empathize. So I think Express was the big change there. Yeah, so we swapped Defy for Express across these 2 series playbooks, which I think is very appropriate. And then we've got Tormented Heroes. Each character may roll +1 die when rolling Kudere, and when you take harm, recover stress equal to the level of the harm. So you take level 1 harm, you recover 1 stress. Level 3 harm, 3 stress. Level 4 harm, 4 stress, which can come up and still be relevant, as we will see later. Dark Side, gain +1 die to all rolls made while in darkness, and take -1 die when rolling Eclipse. So this is if you want to just really live in the darkness and be all edgy. And then we have Night Hunters gain +1 die to Fallout rolls and mission tier rolls. So this is some kind of broader crew level stuff. And then when you advance the Darkness That Hunt track at the end of the mission, mark 1 less. And then Gazing into the Abyss, permanently fill in the first 5 pips of the Darkness That Hunts Us track. Whenever you investigate the darkness, gain +1 die and mark experience. And that would be, I think I saw someone ask, and that's like on your sheet, but I should specify that. So I'm going to do that right now. Hopefully on your sheet makes it clear enough. And then of course, they also have access to outside influence, so they can take crew abilities from the other crew types. And then transcendent abilities, fighting in shadow. While transcendent, each character gets +1 to conceal, defy, and confess. This is like a pretty standard format that I think I want to run for all of these, where you have an option that's just like, boom, you just get +1 to all of these things. And then I won't allow it. If you take fatal harm while transcended, you do not die until your transcendence ends. When your transcendence ends, make an eclipse roll. If it succeeds, you are out of action for the remainder of the mission, but still alive. What power keeps you alive? Who catches you when you fall? So, similarly to some of the stuff in the Starlit Kingdom playbook, there's a way to like cheat death. And then lastly, we have the Thrill. Desperate rolls made while transcendent also count as recovery rolls. So this, again, is similar to the move in the Starlit Kingdom, where you can count your first and last rolls as recovery rolls. In this case, it's just every desperate roll. We'll see how this plays out. I think this might be too strong, but we'll see. It's only while transcended, so like you can get a bunch if you're constantly in desperate situations while transcended, but then you're also risking massive consequences, right? So I feel like maybe what this needs is an extra -1 die to resist consequences of desperate rolls, but then it's going to stack with the Daredevil move, so I don't know. Don't know if I want to do that. Like some kind of other barb to this move might be good, but we'll see. And then for our XP triggers, we've got successfully carry out a mission from the crew's list. And so just to highlight the contrast here, we'll go over these ones next. Oh, and I should go over the mission types as well. But we have successfully carry out a mission from the crew's list, confront the oppression as established, and comfort those who suffer, explore the nature of the darkness and redeem those who have fallen, express the essential nature, origin, or destiny of the crew. Also, I am realizing that I have left in some stuff. I really want to select the lines. There we go. So my new style for all of this is to trim that stuff off, but I can clean that up. Essentially, it's just a matter of templating the other crew list, and because you can see here, there's some irregularities in the boxes which we want to deal with. But anyways, let's focus on the content that matters. So, XP triggers. Now instead we have suffer under the oppression as established and advance towards your tragic fate. Explore the nature of the darkness and tear down its manifestations. So this one is all about fighting and suffering and moving towards tragedy. Oh, yeah. Someone in chat suggested something that I like for this one, which is you cannot count all controlled rolls as risky. Did I spell controlled correctly? I feel like it has 2 L's. It does. Which, you know, like, it's serious, but I find people don't tend to be in controlled positions very often. And this is a potentially incredibly powerful thing. because you could get like 5 or 6 recovery rolls out of there if you're just always rolling desperate, which is huge. It means that the harm just like melts away. And then I haven't finished my missions yet, so this is one of the gaps. We still got Face a Creature of Darkness, so just, again, we want to contrast. So what we're missing is Cleanse the Person or Location, because I don't think this is possible in this playbook. And then I think I also cut Reclaiming an Object of Power, but I'm not 100% sure. So it looks like I have an extra space there. Yeah, so we can still investigate stuff, still look for answers. But we can't redeem things, we can't reclaim objects of power. And one of the big purposes that I see the Reclaiming an Object of Power mission serving is that it helps you build your hideout. And since we do not have a hideout and instead have this pyramid of badness, it's not appropriate to include that. And then we still got Strike at the Heart of Darkness, which serves the same mechanical purpose. And then we have the Why We Can Never Win mission, which is basically just like an even bigger baddest badness, which is going to have some special rules around it. Another modification we're making to the base game is that when you make the social link move, this should be really when you take the social link. When you take the social link action, and I should specify downtime, just to be clear. In addition to, would you enjoy this, ask, or does this drive you to despair and sadness? If they enjoy it, gain 1 plus 1 die. This is like as normal. If it drives them to despair and sadness, mark any links created on your sheet, but gain 1 less. So essentially, there can be these like problematic asymmetrical friendships where people do things that they think other people will enjoy, but that actually like drive them to despair. And that creates a different dynamic. If I want to secure power for myself, I can treat people this way. We'll see how relevant this is. I think it'll come up. I've seen people doing stuff like this in playtests anyways, so I think mechanizing it is actually kind of fun. I just don't want to encourage it in the other series playbooks. But like in Cenome's game, there was this like back and forth between the Unlikely Hero and the Guardian, which is like, the Unlikely Hero is like a very, she's a very like, I don't know, she seems very like traditional or kind of like socially conservative in what she enjoys and is after, and is certainly not really into like embracing the seriousness of her destiny. And then the Guardian, who's always trying to convince her of the like importance of things, is stuck pretending to be a dog. It's like a little puppy. And so there's this weird like power dynamic there that the players really like dove into, of having the characters trying to like hang out with each other in ways that they knew each other wouldn't like, and almost kind of doing it to troll each other. And so now, if you were to do that kind of thing in this playbook, there would be room for that to matter mechanically. Oh. It's Naja subscribing with a butt. Thanks, Naja. How did you know that I wanted a butt? You're a genius. So this is one mod that is existent on the base game in this playbook. And then we also have this one, which I think is also very significant. When you complete a mission, do not clear stress and transcendence as normal. Instead, roll the mission's tier. And on a 6, clear stress is normal, clear all transcendence. On a 4 to 5, you get less. On a 1 to 3, you get even less. On a crit, you also essentially mark 1 recovery cycle. So the idea here is to make the like resource grind a little bit more brutal. So if we're still doing easy missions, quote unquote, then we are not necessarily getting a big payoff out of them. It's a fair question, Trist. I don't know what else. And then we're going to have this. It's not going to stay being called the Doom Pyramid, but I've been calling it the Pyramid of Doom. So, essentially, these are like dark bargains for the crew as a whole. And they are built to exchange mechanical, like temporal power, so like power in the moment, for long-standing fictional consequences. And the idea with these is kind of trying to emulate, to a certain extent, the wishes in Madoka, where you get this like one, it's like one use, it does this one thing, and then you have this consequence that you live with forever, right? Where you get to like help someone in some important way, but that the cost is, it's a zero-sum game, and that the cost is incredibly severe. And so I'm going to start filling these in today because there was a good discussion around what to put in them the last time, and I'm feeling pretty happy with a lot of them. I can see that some of it's incomplete, but we'll try to polish that off today. And then the other thing I really want to do is get these missions sorted out. So, in this case, I'm just going to do a little bit of filling in to start, and then it's going to be a matter of let's see. So we want to do, we'll do this one here. So clear all stress. We'll do and, we'll be generous, and harm from one PC. Right, so with this one, the idea is that we can kind of save someone from being all messed up and maybe dying, but that the cost here is that we generate a new champion of darkness. So some baddie also gets elevated along with us. Storm Typheus has a great suggestion, right? Instead of reclaiming an object of power, it's steal power from the darkness. And we can write a special payout for that one, potentially. Just like how Sea Cancers in a Strange Place is going to help with our investigations. And it's been interesting with the like mission types and having like, because like in Blades there's no like clear like, you know, like what is a con or what is a social job or whatever, and like what it means to complete one, and the payouts and stuff are all kind of, there's like a lot of there's like a conversation around that. It's not explicitly laid out in the rules, and I've kind of been enjoying playing it that way in Girl by Moonlight as well, of being like, okay, well here's this like name of this thing, and this like suggests a bunch of fiction that we will see kind of, you know, following from it, but it's not like super strictly defined. So I kind of like having these kind of evocative things, and then not necessarily being super strict about what they can, what kinds. Geez, I have hiccups. It's super irritating. What kinds of things they can reward the players with is a little bit up in the air, right? How much progress you actually make, etc. Like, they're just more of a way of like framing play rather than setting very clear outcomes. But I think this is a really excellent evocative idea, right, of steal power from the darkness. And we can already imagine the kinds of costs and perils that are associated with that, right? So even if you win, you have this like cursed and evil thing. Um, and so the other tier 1 option here is to so this is what would we say? One PC can escape their darkness. A friend / ally falls to darkness. And so with these two, I'm just going to duplicate them and run them in opposite order over on this side. We can just delete this. So we need to name these things. Fuck, I didn't tweet that I was going live. I'm a bad strim. Well, I'll retweet Ash's tweet because we're gonna hang out in a second here. So, ha. All right. I don't want to just call it bad thing, Elf. I want to change it to be something else. Yeah, steal all my shit, Tom. I don't care. Just steal it all. Take all my ideas. It's fine. I didn't work very hard to come up with them or anything. So, what is an appropriate name for this one? So we're like healing someone, but it's we can call it like dark rejuvenation. That's a suitably edgy thing, right? And then this other one is to have someone escape darkness. And we'll call this like trading fates. And so each one of these is like a one-use thing. You fill in the box, it happens, and then that opens up getting at the other stuff. Yeah, so this one is everyone, the crew and all of its members get an advance, and then we immediately have to run a real bad mission. Yes, we should all steal from John Harper, first and foremost. We should run scores against John. Steal all of his stuff. And so within this, it's going to be 2 of the second tier 2 option there. So 2 of this, the crew and each of its members get an advance. Someone within the crew betrays us to darkness. So this is what? This is betrayal. We'll call it power and betrayal. It's getting very large to fit into this space, but and what I might do here is just like refer to a little legend for what that means. Let's see here. So we've got this, and then where's power and the trail? There we go. Boom. Let me just shuffle these over. Delete these. Hey, Nath. I was shamelessly plugging your channel earlier, so you know, that's cool. Welcome to the stream. Let's see. So then I need to figure out a benefit, because we have the cost, right? This idea of advance the darkness's agenda, which is like, it's pretty clear, right? They'll like harvest a bunch of human emotions or consume human bodies or secretly replace a bunch of people or, you know, tear down parts of our civilization or poison our hearts or drive us all mad. They're going to... The MC will make some of this stuff happen, which will probably shape, you know, our fictional world pretty severely. And then what can we get in exchange for that is the question. What makes sense as a trade? And yeah, Nath, I've watched the episode 0 of your group's Girl by Moonlight game, and I'm really enjoying the setting, and I'm excited to see like the characters and see everything actually in action, which y'all have done a second episode. I just need to like go watch it, but I've been kind of falling behind on getting to get through all these playtests that I need to be watching, so I will get there eventually. I'm very curious to see how it all plays out. What makes sense for us to get by doing this like big picture advance of the darkness and its agenda? I feel like what we need here is some kind of like panic button thing. I think the most clear one here is that we reset the Darkness That Hunts Us track. I think that's what this is for. This is a little like... And then let's just call it the MC advances the Darkness's agenda. And we'll call this one misdirection. Right, so rather than come at the crew, the darkness applies its attention somewhere else and wrecks a bunch of stuff. Right, and the idea with all of these is to make them tempting. And I think that one is strong enough, because you don't want to have to do that type of stuff. And in fact, let's make this one very generous. So we reset the Darkness That Hunts track, and you get 2 downtime actions, because it's basically like we didn't need to go on a mission this time because the darkness is just off messing stuff up. So this can buy you time to like recover if things are really starting to go off the rails. And then we have these options for getting like individual characters out of a bad spot. I feel like these tier 2 ones, right? And then they provide bonuses to like individuals, or costs that is applied to individuals. And then this is more of a broad strokes thing, where it's for the whole crew, and the consequences are commensurate with that. And then for the worst thing, I'm still not sure what to do with, because if we're keeping this stratification of things, right? It's like character playbook level thing, crew playbook level thing, and then this is like game wide massive thing. Um, and I'm wondering if I want to allow this direct track up to it, where you can just go boom boom. I don't think so. I think you need to like fill each tier before you access the next one. And we need to see if the PCs can survive all that happening before these go through. Doom Pyramid, I'm just going to define how I envision this all playing out as well. So once per downtime, the crew may elect to use one option from the pyramid. So the idea is that this is something you do in downtime. You get to bust this stuff out. I don't want it to mess with the tension within missions. I want people to have to like take their knocks and have that intensity, and then afterwards, when they have time to recover, they can kind of take these on as ways of seeing them through the recovery process. Yeah, and so this tier 3 thing needs to be big. I mean, like, looking at the reason I have the like do a Madoka and save everyone, I really like the idea of having this worst thing play into that. So maybe I think the cost is pretty clear. This worst thing is what makes this tier 4 move happen, this tier 4 mission happen. So I think the cost is pretty clear. Right, so we push to this like climactic conflict. And the first part of it needs to be something equally, revelatory and huge. And so I'm of a few minds on this. I like the idea of having something that can just be like, cool, yeah, you save everyone, but y'all have to sacrifice yourselves. Right, because the idea with the tier 4 mission is just like it is the unbeatable mission. You can you go in and do the like Blades in the Dark equivalent of horde mode until you are overwhelmed and die, and eventually you will be overwhelmed and eventually you will fail. Or maybe you won't, but that's the framing of it at the very least. And so that we make that sacrifice meaningful and that we give the players the opportunity to decide when to do it, I think is interesting. That this is our way of us all being intentional about being like, here's the finale. This is the big finish. And that we have already gotten them to frame what that end will look like, right? Our tragic fate. How does it end? Why can we never win? What will ultimately be our undoing? Who will betray us, knowingly or otherwise? So this tier 4 mission is when this shit happens. So it's it's the dramatic irony moment. This is the thing that we have all been playing towards this whole time. We get to make that happen, and we decide when we're ready for it. I mean, the benefits and costs of waiting to do it would be that maybe if you're strong enough, you can somehow survive it. That maybe there is some escape clause that you can figure out or set up within the fiction. but I don't really want to give people that much permission to hedge. And also, it's just like when you're ready to, put a nail in it, go for it. And end your game. That's fine. I can't tell you when to end your game. I just want to offer the players this kill switch. And so then do we put this as like, Nath, don't worry about it. I appreciate you like mentioning my game to people who might be interested in it and stuff. Like, by all means, my mentions have not been so destroyed as all that. And like, at this point, I have a pretty large pool of followers, so I'm used to a fair bit of chatter in there. Not that I'm like super popular on Twitter or anything, but like, it's okay. Your free marketing is deeply unappreciated. No. It's good. I really do appreciate that you're like talking about the game, and I hope that it's from a genuine place of excitement and stuff. Like, that would make me feel nice. And yeah, I'm not upset about being mentioned. So for this one, I feel like the thing we get here, right, is the MC will offer you a sliver of hope. So this is the one that's going to break the trends of all the others, because there is no like one-shot temporal power that I can give. The pacing of these being once per episode means that we will do, at bare minimum, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 missions before we can even try to do this. And I expect this series playbook to be sufficiently lethal, but if you can make it that far, then you've earned this. And so I like the idea of this just being this like almost reversal of the promise of the game, but not quite, and in a way that we all like secretly want, right? The idea that there will be this like sliver of hope. But then we go and have to do this like daunting and awful thing. Because in my like wildest dreams about what all this would look like, this would end with like that whole like Madoka sequence, right, where because of all this other stuff and all the suffering and the like brutal, gut-wrenching, emotional horror of it all, at the end, despite constantly hearing, no, this can never happen, this can never happen, this can never happen, there is this way that it can happen, and it's maybe a little bit strange and unexpected, and like in Madoka is totally beautiful and like incredible as a epiphany moment for the story. And so I would love to push people towards doing that kind of stuff, and that here the MC, who is mostly in a role of presenting adversity, can be like, oh yeah, and here's a way where things might not be terrible, but they'll get their fingerprints all over it. It will have this incredibly steep cost, or will fly in the face of the morality or whatever of the characters, right? That it will be complicated, and that will fall to the MC's Deus Ex Madoka. Yes, that's what we want. We want the Deus Ex Madoka. But then we want everyone to feel like they're earning it, and that it be something that we author together. Because I feel like you can never really have a Deus Ex Machina in a role-playing game where everyone's playing in good faith, because we all establish the fiction together as a conversation. So it can't just be like one person being like, "Bring, we changed everything. There's a solution." I mean, if the MC of a game of Girl by Moonlight were to ever do that, they would be playing the game wrong, like very explicitly, right? Their job isn't to save the characters, and that doesn't make for a good story. I think they're letting, we would all collectively be letting ourselves down if we played into something like that. But what we can do is, through a long series of, sacrifices and decisions and stuff within the game, and seeing these characters grow and change and die, and those that are left struggling on, we can maybe claw our way to a place where we, in that discussion, have come to a conclusion, right? And one that includes what this sliver of hope might look like, and then we can go and try to like enact that, and maybe do it and maybe not, and like probably die trying. I think that's very, to me, my hope is that would be cool for people, and like for me, that's a neat idea. It's a good aspiration. So we'll see if this can prompt folks to do that. And that, yeah, we just, by gating it sufficiently far back, right, you have to do a bunch of stuff. My thinking on the matter is that we'll know the answer to this almost already before the MC even says it. It should follow so logically from the fiction as established, because we have established so much at that point, right? We have built this foundation. And so that is my sincere hope for this mechanic. Of course, hope is not a plan, and it may not live up to that promise, but we'll test it. We'll see, right? And so we have made a decision about this. Whether or not it's the right one is always the question, but we'll see. That will be revealed in time. So for now, all I need to do is, I'm going to stash a bunch of these extra mechanics over here in the corner. Right, because these are like the mods to the game. And then here is my little design statement for this thing. So let's see if it lives up to it, right? A pyramid of badness. Work your way up the tiers to your ultimate doom, but unlock power along the way. Always power at a cost. If in the player's hands predominantly, to both give power in mechanics and have costs in the fiction. NPCs, friends, and such. Limited or one-use payouts for permanent costs, like the wishes in Madoka, irrevocable and tempting. This is my best effort at solving this design problem. I'm thinking I might do a couple little design elements, like flipping it over, so that the pyramid is upside down, and we're trying to get to the bottom. We're like funneling down, because I feel like that's a bit more of an appropriate metaphor. And yeah, Ash, I've been thinking about having like an MC playbook, and having like MC advancement and some other stuff, which might, if I write that and find some ways for it to feed into stuff like this, it probably is going to. And this is like a clear hook for that kind of stuff. Basically, in my envisioning of it, there's like the player characters and their playbooks. There's the MC with their playbook, and the place where all of those things connect is on the series playbook, and that there is stuff that we're pulling from each, right? Like the characters are pulling their roles. The MC, even in the current design where the MC doesn't have a playbook, you're still pulling a lot of stuff from this sheet, right? The series playbook is mostly about stuff for the MC, right? Because through this we get all of our opposition, we get our setting and situation. there's some stuff for the characters, but there's also, again, like, this is something for the MC. The obligation is basically something for the MC. Price we paid, etc. These are all mostly things that provide broader context for all the characters, which helps the MC make stuff, right? That's what we're wanting from that. So why isn't it letting me select that text layer? Oh well. I mean, it kind of is at the moment, Ash, but what I'm imagining is a bigger thing where, like, the MC has, like, abilities that they unlock. Like, I'm imagining an MC XP track, an MC XP prompts, where at the end of session, the MC gets to go through this as well and be like, oh yeah, did I do this? Did I do that? I like the idea of flattening really this is not flattening, but like breaking down the divisions between I'm gonna speak to Strash. Believe you me, Sith Master. But yeah, the idea is to say that progression and, you know, having like abilities and having like a persona on a piece of paper is not just for the PCs anymore, that the MC can have it. That the MC playbook would span multiple seasons of the same series, just like how the series playbook would. But that it would face the MC more directly than this one does in terms of the mechanical bits. Because, yeah, right now the crew sheet is very much a hybrid thing. It's a shared document between all of the players, including the MC. But I just like the idea of having, like, XP prompts for the MC. So it might be that I just add some stuff to the crew book where it's like MC XP and it's all down here and they do some stuff and then they have some places they can spend it. Just because progression is cool and I don't see why the MC shouldn't be allowed to have it. And it's like a fun activity to do at the table. So I want to see if I can work some of that stuff in. But as a like playtest document, I think this is ready to go. And Ash, if you're around and ready, we can talk about this some more while playing a board game together, if you are so inclined. Right? And like Sysmaster was saying, right, GM like harm conditions and stuff. And the reason that I see Girl by Moonlight needing this, because Blades doesn't, right? Like Blades really doesn't need that because it has the faction system. It has the sandbox, which is totally the MC's playground and where they get to have their progression, right? The different factions get to grow and change and stuff like that. But in my game, there isn't that, so I need some kind of replacement, right? I have taken out a vital organ of Blades, and I need to jam some kind of prosthetic in there. And so I'm imagining some of the progression stuff can account for, like, changes in tier and those kinds of progression, throwing some things into the mix in terms of the missions, and also just, like, a place to track a lot of these things. So Zeekpol, I would be interested in seeing someone go like GMless with Girl by Moonlight. I agree that it's entirely possible. There would need to be some structure to fill that space, but whether that's like everyone at the table talking about it, you know, which is not that different from having an MC, honestly. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to bring this stream down for like less than a minute, and then I'm going to kick it back up. We're going to hang out with Ash, and she and I are gonna talk about cool stuff and play some Armello, which is a little like fantasy animal board game where there's a big sick king lion dude and you gotta steal his crown. So we're gonna do that. I'll be putting the VODs of this up along with the VODs from last week sometime tonight. So Sithmaster and anyone else that missed it can go check those out. Yeah, Zekepol, I think that's all a fair point. I'm gonna play around with some stuff. I might have like a couple different dials, right? It could be like the GM-less mode, here's how you do it, the GM as character mode, here's how you do it, and then just like the more fast and loose version. And then, so the other thing that I'll mention before signing off is just that in Girl by Moonlight, the MC changes hands every season. So there's like a certain period of play that is defined as a season, and when that is done, the MC becomes a PC, and one of the PCs becomes the MC. So I'm also trying out some stuff around rotating those roles and responsibilities around for longer format play. So, schming. Things that we will see shake themselves out in the future. All right, I'll bring the stream down. Ash and I are going to play a game. Stick around for that if you want to hear us talk a lot and click on animals. Yeah. See you guys in a bit.